This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Stick around to find out more about building your own website. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, it's JPR, and believe it or not, we're only a week away from the release of Pokemon Legends Arceus. How on earth did that happen? But hey, regardless of how the game turns out, I'm just glad that a mythical Pokemon is finally getting some well-deserved spotlight. We've talked a lot about mythical Pokemon on this channel over the years, and mostly how they've been in decline about since Gen 6, but you know, it's one thing to just talk about a problem, and it's another to actually offer up some solutions. So today, in honor of many of the forgotten mythical Pokemon, I'm gonna be trying to come up with special events for most of the ones that don't have any. So stuff like Mew and Celebi and Darkrai we don't need to talk about, they're already well covered. So with that being said, our first eventless Pokemon is Jirachi from Ruby and Sapphire. If you recall from one of my past videos about the rarity of mythical Pokemon, I said that Jirachi is one of the only mythical Pokemon to never even be mentioned in the game it originates from. So the options are truly wide open here. We could slap a Jirachi event almost anywhere in Hoenn. But first we need to discuss the item that's the key to this whole event. I'm going with the Meteorite, since in Gen 3 it's pretty much useless. The only function it has in those games is that you can return it to Professor Cosmo for TM27 return. The reason I'm using the Meteorite of all things is because of the Jirachi Wishmaker movie, as well as its Emerald Pokedex entry, where a hard crystalline shell is said to form around Jirachi while it sleeps for 1,000 years. I think it would be entirely possible that this shell could be mistaken for a meteorite. So basically, instead of returning the meteorite to the professor, or having Rayquaza in just a comatose state Jirachi, this time the meteorite will just stay with you as a key item for the entire game. That is, until you take it to Meteor Falls, where the meteorite was originally discovered. After you get Waterfall, you go deeper into the cave and stand within one of the large crater impacts, and that will serve as the trigger to awaken Jirachi from its slumber. Although, realistically speaking, you probably have to have some random key item from an event with you as well for it to work. Like Professor Birch's losing scratch-off ticket symbolizing his wish to become rich and abandon his peasantry fieldwork. I don't know, something along those lines. Alternatively, we could do without a special event item and just have it be unlocked through something more accessible. For this, I thought the event should take place atop Mount Chimney, where Team Magma attempted to use the meteorite to awaken Groudon. There you could stand at the volcano's edge, go into your bag, and toss an offering into the volcano as a wish to awaken Jirachi. Kinda like how people throw coins in a fountain to make a wish, except way more dangerous. Admittedly, this idea is inspired from one of my friends in kindergarten lying to me and telling me that if I threw a nugget to Mount Chimney, it would give me 100 more. It didn't work. I thought this could possibly be done with the lava cookie that the old woman at the summit will sell to you. That way the event isn't locked behind some random GameStop event that happened in 2004. I think the first option at Meteor Falls is far more realistic and fitting to Jirachi, but I think the one on Mount Chimney is way more fun. It would be some super cool Easter egg reminiscent of the Mew under the truck rumors from Gen 1. Moving on to Gen 4, I don't think any of them really need new events, although I do think that the Hall of Origin event with Arceus should have been released to the public. But for some reason, Masuda thought it would be too hard for people to find. Like, who's not gonna go back to Spear Pillar at some point? I know I did long before I ever knew about the Azure Flute. The Sinjoh ruins are great and all, but catching the mythical Pokemon is what we're actually concerned about. Although the Hall of Origin event, the Azure Flute, and even Arceus' battle theme are all present in the coding of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and can even be accessed through hacking, despite the event never being released for the original games. So, who knows, maybe before the year is over, we will finally get to see the Hall of Origin not just in the remakes, but maybe in Legends Arceus as well. Moving on to Gen 5, although there are events for all 4 mythical Pokemon, Victini is the only one that you're actually able to catch through these events. The other 3's events are just for learning special moves. First of all, Keldeo really ought to be found at the end of Challenger's Cave. I always thought it was so weird how you just get to the bottom and there's just nothing noteworthy to be found. One of the ace trainers roaming the cave even claims that a legendary Pokemon once trained its student in this cave, which to me at least sounds a lot like Cobalion and Keldeo. So needless to say, I spent way too many hours looking for something that wasn't there. Thanks for nothing, random NPC. Even though Challenger's Cave collapses in Black 2 and White 2, I think this imaginary encounter with Keldeo could move to the Wellspring Cave. The layout of the cavern is similar enough to Challenger's Cave, plus Veteran Sean and Veteran Julia, the 2 strongest trainers in the game, actually do relocate to Wellspring Cave in the sequels. It would still be post-game content either way, so why not? Meloetta should at the very least be tied to the Pokemon musicals in Nimbasa City in some fashion. I've never understood the purpose of musicals. To me, they just felt like contests from Gen 4, but infinitely stripped down in terms of what the player can actually do. After winning 10 musicals, you get the winner's belt prop to put on your Pokemon, which can only be used in future musicals. If I've already got everything, why would I even compete anymore? I think on top of the belt, Meloetta should appear, being drawn to both the music and your Pokemon's talent as a performer. Meloetta does end up getting its own show as a downloadable extra via the Sea Gear, but I'm not a little girl, so I didn't do that. As for Genesect, its event is pretty fine, but I think it should be the scientist who uses Genesect and you have to beat him in order for him to shut down the project and give it to you as a reward. In the actual games, this event only serves the purpose of giving you the drives that let you change the type of Genesect's signature move, Technoblast. Except in Gen 5, Technoblast is the worst signature move ever! There is no reason to use any of the drives other than Dow's because Technoblast's base power is only 85 in that gen, meaning that it's weaker than Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, and Ice Beam, all moves that Genesect can already learn. Thankfully, they buffed Technoblast to 120 base power in Gen 6, but seeing as how drives can't be transferred to future generations, that doesn't make the original event any less pointless. But you know what isn't pointless? Learning how to build an online brand for yourself in 2022. Thankfully, our friends over at Squarespace have got you covered. They have all the tools necessary to build your brand, regardless of whether you're building an online store or a platform to connect all of your content from across the web. You can choose from a wide variety of pre-made templates to find the style that best fits what you're looking for. On top of that, they make it easier than ever to connect your social media profiles all under one umbrella. You'll also get analytics and the ability to send out emails to members, so if I wanted to, I can make a YouTube subscription feed that actually works. Not to mention, I could just put the videos directly on my website, which is a pretty cool feature. If you're not making your online presence known through Squarespace, you're doing it wrong. So go on, take a look at their site and their numerous options, then click the link in the description below, squarespace.com/JPR, to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you to Squarespace, let's get back to the video. Gen 6. Oh boy, we got work to do. I think I'd have Diancie be caught in the depths of the Reflection Cave, preferably on the altar where the Alakazite normally is, but it would only show up after you've obtained all the Megastones in the game. Reflection Cave is also the only location in Kalos where Carbink can be found, which are known to mutate into Diancie over time. The event itself, where you obtain the Diancite, I know it's not in X and Y, let's just pretend it is, should happen in the Parfume Palace. It would make sense seeing as how the palace has been around for 300 years and it's been converted into a museum, so you could definitely get that giant lore dump here instead of it just happening in a random Pokemon Center 4 seconds after the delivery man gives you the Diancie. Boy, events do not get much lazier than that. Up next is Hoopa. I honestly have no clue where Hoopa's event should take place. I mean, in Oras, it literally happens in a Pokemart of all places. Seeing as how Kalos doesn't have a location to me that really screams, Hoopa! I'd say we can keep its event as an Oras exclusive one. Oras already has those weird rings that the legendary Pokemon can be found in during the postgame, which we can infer are Hoopa's doing based on its movie, even if the dots are never connected in-game. I would say after all the legendaries from the Mirage spots are captured, the original Mirage Island from Gen 3 appears east of Pacific Log Town, where Hoopa can be seen opening up various rings. You then battle and capture Hoopa like normal, and return to Pacific Log Town, where the old man who originally let you know that the island is visible tells you all about Hoopa's lore and gives you the prison bottle. And finally, for Volcanion, we're moving back to X and Y because, well, you know, locked steam power plant. Still mad about that. Magearna's up next. Oh boy, this is a tough one. All the Pokedex tells us is that Magearna was built as a present for a king's daughter, but old kingly stuff isn't really found anywhere in Alola. If I'm being honest, it feels more like this Pokemon should have come out in Kalos or Galar. Because of this, I think it would work best as a Pokemon found and protected by the Aether Foundation. In the Ultra games, if you defeat Lusamine in the title defense match, you'll unlock a cutscene between her and Mon later at Aether Paradise. I would take a similar approach, but do it for Gladion instead, since unlike Lusamine, he can challenge for the title in both pairs of games. After defeating Gladion, he'll tell you to come to Aether Paradise, where you can obtain Magearna as a gift. In the Howoli Mall, where you originally obtained Magearna, I would change this to a paint shop where you can restore Magearna to its original color form, something that wouldn't actually be released until Gen 8, despite being coded in Gen 7. Marshadow might be even trickier than Magearna. The Pokedex, NPCs, and even its movie provide zero insight as to what it is or where it comes from. However, Marshadow does have a quote-unquote form that it switches into during its attacking animations called Zenith Marshadow, basically when it turns green. Zenith, as we learn in the Ultra games, is the term that Z-moves and Z-power are derived from. So I'd say that after you obtain all the region's different Z-crystals, you head to Team Skull's Manor in Po Town to find Marshadow. Why there? Because Guzma's stash of Buginium Z stays there even after you beat him. Plus, it's a generally dark and creepy place that fits Marshadow's appearance. Perhaps he's drawn to the excess of Z-power coming from the hoarded crystals in the town. From there, it's very straightforward, just battle and catch him. Unfortunately, Zeraora is just about as mysterious as Marshadow is, and there's not a ton of electric-themed places in Alola to speak of, so I'll leave this one to the comments. I'm genuinely curious, can you think of an event for Zeraora that fits within Alola? Looking forward to seeing your thoughts. I don't think Meltan and Melmetal really need an event given that they have all that stuff in Pokemon Go, but I wish there was some sort of material for them in Sword and Shield, especially considering Melmetal got a Gigantamax form. Again, let me know if you think of something. And finally, we've arrived at Zarude, another really tough one considering he's a jungle Pokemon, but there isn't a jungle in Sword and Shield. And that's basically all we know about him. So, yeah, leave a comment. And with that, we have successfully given events to most mythical Pokemon that don't have them, aside from the last 3, because, like, what do we even know about them? Pretty much nothing. And you know what else we don't know much about? Legends Arceus, so I don't know what I'll be doing next week. Maybe I'll just not do anything. Maybe I'll just play the game and not tell anyone about it. That sounds nice. Well, I hope everyone enjoys the new game, but if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. I'll see you guys next time.